Heyo, welcome to another week of Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm pretending to be a pregnant woman, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome to another episode of Bloodhaus, Josh.
Hello, how are you? What's going on?
I'm good. I am well rested. I have been working on the house. I have been doing all of the proper things that I should be doing to feel like a good human and not like a depressed little monster gremlin that I am most of the time during the week when my schedule is wake up, design posters, eat dinner, go to bed. Wake up, design posters, eat dinner, go to bed. And so it's nice to like kind of focus on my space, getting things looking good and feeling good. And I live in a very old apartment that has a lot of weird things about the way it was built and the way that like landlords have treated it for years. So it needs a good bit of upkeep to not like fall into rust, lime, and corrosion all the time. Anyway, how are you doing? There's something well worth celebrating right now, I think.
Yes, my show Dead Boy Detectives just dropped on Netflix, and you came to my little watch party
I did.
On Friday, which was so lovely. And it's doing really well today. It is number 3 on Netflix, and there's lots of really positive tweets. The reviews are glowing. It's got like 90-something% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I pay too much attention to that. So it's been really nice and fun. I'm really happy about it. Actually, that's not true. The truth is, I got
that's not true. You're not happy about it.
I got very depressed and very anxious for about 48 hours when it dropped, because I think it's just like sort of postpartum depression and also worrying about how the show will do, and just like listening to podcasts about how Hollywood is falling apart because of tech money and how writers can't make livings anymore, and just like really having a whole spiral about it. But I'm very happy about the show. I'm really proud of it. I think it's very good. And everyone should please watch Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix.
I really, really love it. First of all, thank you so much for having me over to the little screening party of the premiere episode. I had such a great time. And I literally don't have Netflix anymore. And I loved the show so much on that one episode that night I went home and I subscribed to Netflix again.
Yay.
Begrudgingly. And then the next day, Ivor and I binged a couple more episodes.
Oh, good.
And I cannot, we're almost to your episode next. And we're
episode 4.
Freaking excited. I should also say that and this has absolutely nothing to do with your talents and work as a writer. However, I just like to point out that it has one of the best opening credit sequences of all time. But your name's in the opening credits, so it does tie in.
It is, yeah. It's very exciting to see it there every time. I don't let people skip the credits in my house.
It's a very, very, very eye-catching, fun, and delightful opening credit sequence that really sets the tone of the show and is just like kind of addictive to watch. So I don't think people will be skipping that anytime soon. It's a really, really, really great show. You should be so proud. I've seen so many people online being like, if you like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina or Series of Unfortunate Events, you'll like this. And I'm like, yeah, I wonder what the through line there is.
Yeah, it's really strange. They're all like compared to one another constantly, and those are the 3 shows that I've worked on. So I feel like I have a very strong brand, for better or for worse, because frankly, there's not a lot of shows like that.
No, there's not.
It feels like maybe there's not that much work for me. The only other show that's like that is Wednesday, which I interviewed for and didn't get. So
it's the Conkel touch. I imagine that whenever Netflix is greenlighting a vaguely spooky teen show, they have you come in and do the whole Barton Fink scene of, we need the Conkel feeling. More Conkel on this one.
It's true. There is a particular executive at Netflix who really likes me and really likes my work. And so he does put me forward for every show that is like this at Netflix. And that's how I got that Wednesday interview. And it's true. That is actually literally true.
They're very right to do it because it's great and you're very, very talented. And you're now one step away from them greenlighting the Conkel show. starring
God
Joshua
willing.
Conkel as the witch next door.
I don't want to be on the show.
No.
I'm not really camera ready.
They love you so much that if you're not the lead of the show, they're not going to make the show. It's a multicam sitcom where you walk in every week, and
it's like a new Bewitched.
Yeah,
but
every time you come through the door, the audience applauses for 3 minutes until you can say your first line. This is your show.
I'm like actually blushing right now. That's very sweet of you. I do have a BFA in acting, and I'm pretty good. I will say that. I just don't want to do it. Anyway, what have you been watching besides Dead Boy Detectives? Anything?
A lot of Dead Boy Detectives. I went to the theater twice this week to see new releases. One is a horror film with some art house touches. Vaguely, It's mostly just a popcorn fun horror movie. And the other one is an art house movie with horror touches. So that's super fun.
Okay.
The big one that I went to go see is Abigail, the new film from the directors of the last 2 Scream movies and Ready or Not. I believe their production company is Radio Silence. And it stars Dan Stevens and Catherine Newton, from Freaky and Lisa Frankenstein, and Melissa Barrera from the last 2 Scream movies. And it is a movie about a team of criminals who kidnap a ballerina vampire child. And it goes as poorly as you would expect, but the movie knows in every way, shape, and form what it's doing with such a stupid, sleazy kind of drive-in exploitation setup like that. And it's so fucking fun. The cast is phenomenal. Melissa Barrera's never been better. I was kind of like lukewarm to her in the Scream movies from these directors, but she is phenomenal in this. Alicia Weir, who plays the titular Abigail, was also in Netflix's musical adaptation of Matilda, and she's incredible in this movie. Dan Stevens, Catherine Newton, Kevin Durand, and Angus MacLeod are fucking amazing as the supporting cast. Giancarlo Esposito is also in it.
I love him.
There's a really awesome cameo at the end by one of the hottest men in cinema working today. It is just super, super, super fun, outrageously gory, a lot closer to Ready or Not than the Scream films from those directors.
Ooh, and I loved Ready or Not.
I really, really liked Ready. I think this is better.
Great. Oh, I can't wait.
It does a lot with the kind of like Agatha Christie locked door setup, mixing in like an Ocean's 11 heist team and a vampire.
Yeah, I really want to see it. I've heard nothing but good things. I was a little unsure by the trailer because part of me felt like, is this going to be too like wink, wink, clever? Like, I'm not a big fan of movies like Megan. No shade. I thought Megan was a fun movie, but it's like it's a 3-star movie to me. Nothing. I don't mean that in a cruel, nasty way. I just feel like it's too pleased with itself in a weird way, and it has too many Marvel-ish like memeable moments that seem intentional, and I was worried that Abigail would be like that, too much like that for me, but I hear it's really fun, and
it's not like that at all. It's closer to like a 70s exploitation movie, and it knows what it's doing in every step of the way, and it's never winking at you, but it's constantly trying to surprise you and take you off guard. There's a Danzig needle drop that I think you're going to have a lot of fun with.
I love Danzig.
The scene itself is super, super cool. I'm a huge fan of Catherine Newton. I'm a huge fan of Dan Stevens. Dan
Stevens, I'll never not be thinking of the moment of him coming out of the shower in The Guest. Like, always have that in the back of my mind.
As do I, but he has a moment in this that I will always be thinking of like that.
Okay.
And he's got Cuckoo coming up too, and he's in Godzilla X Kong right now. Also, he's having a fucking moment. It's Dan Stevens summer, and we're just like along for the ride.
I'm all in on Dan Stevens. I was all in on Dan Stevens in Downton Abbey when he was like just a chubby British guy. You know what I mean? I liked him way back when, so I'm a fan.
He's a real kooky individual, and I like him quite a lot. Abigail was super, super, super fun. I liked it a lot. The other one that I saw in theaters this week is significantly more the art house film of the two. It is from the French director Bertrand Bonello, and it stars George McKay from 1917 and Léa Seydoux, and it's called The Beast. It's being released by Janus Films and Sideshow.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Bonello for having directed Nocturama, which is a really interesting movie from about 2017 about teenage terrorists. But he's also well known for having made House of Tolerance, Saint Laurent, and Zombie Child. But The Beast is crazy. I saw someone compare it to Inland Empire by way of Cloud Atlas.
Oh, interesting.
Which I saw you get
picture that.
I saw your interest peaked and dashed in one move.
Yeah.
It stars Léa Seydoux as a woman in, I think, 2044, living in a like dystopian world that is like run by artificial intelligence and robots, and that human beings are like relegated to the side, and they are put through their emotions are seen as a detriment to their existence, and so they are encouraged by the like computers that run the world to have an experimental surgery that erases all their like past lives generational trauma. And by doing that, they get to experience those past lives and generational trauma while they're being erased. So it's kind of got an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind thing going on there. And so she relives some of her a life at like in the 1800s, where she's living in France, married to the owner of a doll factory, and a previous paramour arrives in the form of George McKay. And then another life where she's living in 2014 Los Angeles as an actress who's like watching someone's mansion in the hills and is being stalked by an incel played by George McKay. Yeah. And then in the future, in 2044, when she's getting all the stuff done, she keeps running into George McKay, also getting the same procedures, and they're kind of like looped in around each other. It is absolutely fascinating and amazing. It is based on a novella called The Beast in the Jungle by oh God, who wrote Taming of the Shrew? Not Turning of the Screw. Turning of the Screw.
Henry James.
Henry James. It's based on a Henry James short story or novella about a man who lives in terminal fear that something terrible is going to befall him at any time, so he never forms relationships. And so Léa Seydoux is the character who is constantly plagued by this idea that something terrible is going to happen to her at any moment. And through her 3 separate lives that we see in her cut, maybe something does, while also keeping her entwined with and away from George McKay, as lovers, as, you know, assailants. It's really, really, really fascinating. It also co-stars, God, what is her name? Elena Lowenschun, who is one of the leads from Knife Plus Heart and The Wild Boys.
Oh, yeah.
And that vampire movie Nadja from the 90s. And she was in Amateur and Forbidden Room. She's in like so much like primo art house, American and French stuff. It's really, really fascinating. It's got a lot of Lynchian and De Palma-esque moments while also being able to lay really strong into science fiction and really strong into period melodrama. It's really fascinating and really interesting, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is like one of the most thought-provoking and well designed and crafted and like genuinely tense and upsetting movies I've seen in a long time. And it's also set in a vague future in which the United States of America has suffered a civil war that is not explained.
Interesting.
So one of 2 movies at the box office is with that plot, and I'm going to recommend this one. I think The Beast is fascinating, and I highly recommend it.
That's a great segue, Drusilla, because I went to the movies this week too, and I saw Alex Garland's Civil War, which we've talked a lot about off mic, and just sort of like, you know, there's a lot of discourse around it, and it's a very divisive movie. And it felt like before I saw the movie, I was like, I don't understand what this reaction is. It felt like people on the right thought the movie was like too woke or whatever. And then people on the left felt like it was like sort of cowardly or centrist. And I didn't really think either of those things were true. It felt like to me, Alex Garland was not interested in talking about the politics of 2024. And so he just took it off the table in order to get people to focus on what he was interested in, which is like journalism and objectivity. That in itself, you could argue is like a neoliberal centrist point of view. And I'm sympathetic to that. But I don't know. I just felt all kinds of things about it. Like, first of all, I think a movie can be conservative and be good, right? Like a movie's politics and a movie's quality are like not connected in my mind. I mean, for instance,
The Dirty Dozen is like an outright Republican
Straw
movie.
Dogs is like a totally conservative movie. There's like a ton of movies that I love that are conservative, and on the other end of the spectrum, there's a ton of movies with politics that align with mine that are just garbage. You know what I mean? So I had that in mind, but I also think it's not a leftist movie. I mean, I sort of don't understand the criticism about it being apolitical and centrist, because it's literally about Californians fighting a fascist president. So it's like people want Kirsten Dunst to turn to camera and be like, by the way, Nick Offerman is Trump. You know what I mean? But I think it's really good. I really liked it. I thought it was harrowing. I thought Kirsten Dunst gives her best performance. It was sad and exciting and scary, and I don't know. I really liked it, and I don't understand the criticisms from like either political from either side of the political aisle, because I just don't think anyone is right about it. I don't think it's a movie that you can approach. There's a sort of thing where people like can get caught in the trap of criticizing a movie based on the movie that they wish it were, rather than the movie that it actually is and the things that it's actually interested in doing. And I think that people are kind of falling into that trap with Civil War a little bit. But I don't know. I really loved it. And I don't know. I know you'll never see it. But
I'll never see it, but not for that reason. I'll never see it because A24 made AI generated posters for it for an entire campaign. So I'll never see it. That. So fuck them for that.
Yeah, fuck that. That sucks. Yeah. But I did think, it was a moment where I was like, oh, there's so much discourse about this. And in my opinion, everyone is wrong like, across the boards.
It's interesting, even from people that I want to ask you about this. As a writer, a lot of the people that I've heard talk about the movie, that people who've both praised the movie and also people who've been kind of middled on the movie have talked about, the direction and the needle drops and the like execution of a lot of it as being either very good or some of the needle drops taking people out of the movie and stuff like that. But on the whole, the biggest critique about the movie that I've heard outside of the like political discussion of it is the writing. I've heard most people who even like the movie have had issues with the writing. And Alex Garland comes from like a novelist background, and is like most well known as a writer, and has only made, I think, 4 movies now, and is also now retiring from directing, or so he says. So what do you think about Civil War from like a screenwriter's perspective?
I thought it was really good, but I also think the pacing and tone of it is very unusual. It feels shaggy, like a 70s movie feels shaggy, right? So like we've had multiple generations now of like Save the Cat, very very taut TAUT screenplay structure, where like everything has to be, it's very regimented, very mechanical, very formulaic. And I think people are used to that. And I think the script for this is like more loosey-goosey and shaggier, and the pacing is very strange and arty. And so I thought the writing was good. I don't know. But that's me on Civil War. We have a movie to discuss today that is also controversial. And we picked this movie simply because we hadn't picked another movie, and this was on the list of potential films that Matt Landsman, our guest last week, wanted to discuss. And so we're like, let's just do that. It seems easy. And the movie is a French movie from 2007, directed by Julien Maury and Alexandre Bustillo. It is Inside, or in French, À l'intérieur. You've seen this before, right?
I had not seen this before.
Oh, okay.
But
what'd you think? What are your headlines?
This was a movie that I heard about for the first time from my former boss at that, like, he and I like really bonded over movies, and we had very, very similar taste in fucked up movies. We were talking about The Loved One all the time. We were talking about Myra Breckenridge and like stuff like that, and like Peck and Paw and Straw Dogs, and like had this fairly similar take on like good fucked up movies. And when he found out that I was a big fan of Betty Blue, the 1980s movie that launched Beatrice Dalle, who was one of the leads in this movie, he was like, "Oh, have you seen that movie where she's trying to take this woman's baby? I think it's called like In Your House or something like that. It's fucking nuts." And I was like, "Okay, well, whatever." He's like, "It's one of those, like, it's like Martyrs. It's one of those like really gory French movies from the 2000s." And I was like, "Ooh, I've never seen Martyrs. I've never seen what's the other one that's really big from that era?"
I don't know. Martyrs is
High Tension.
High Tension.
I've never seen High Tension. I've kind of avoided those because they were kind of like coinciding with the American films like Hostel and Saw, and they kind of like were marketed in a similar way of like, buckets of blood, and we're shooting on digital, and like we can do whatever the fuck we want, and no one's gonna stop us, kind of stuff. And I was kind of like, I don't know about that. And so I was very interested to finally kind of step into French extremism in earnest by watching this for the first time, because it's, we'd done Trouble Every Day for the podcast, and we've done some other movies like that. And I do love Beatrice Dalle. I think she's fucking incredible. I will watch anything with her. This I didn't love. I don't know. I was I didn't hate it by any stretch of the imagination. I just felt like it was kind of color by numbers a little bit, and I felt like it didn't have a lot of surprises other than its like amount of gore. And I also strongly disliked the cinematography and the CGI, but we'll get into that later.
It's
what about
funny
you?
because
This is one of your I feel like this was more of a Josh choice. I mean, you love
I
French pregnancy movies.
I actually feel the same way that you do to some extent. I saw it when it came out. I rented it, and I thought it was like a 3-star movie. I would say that I liked it, and I felt the same watching it this week. I do want to be careful because I feel like, this isn't intended to be like a movie review podcast, but it's also to some extent unavoidable. To me, there's something about this that I both admire, but then something falls a little flat. And I'm kind of interrogating what it is. I'm not sure exactly. I think this movie is very effective in terms of its being grisly and scary. It really gets under my skin.
It is genuinely properly upsetting in that way. I had to look away from the screen multiple times because good fucking God.
It is very scary in that way, but there's also like a lot of things that I'm just not crazy about in terms of like choices and style. I don't love the CGI baby.
I strongly dislike the CGI baby. That's like constantly like pushing an extended hand out as if it's like barring. Like
Stop.
Babies don't move like that.
Yeah. I don't like the costume for Beatrice Dalle.
She's wearing a fucking she's wearing a corset with like bell sleeves
and
to
high
invade a
heels
woman's house.
Yeah, she's just
what
like
is she
she's going
doing?
to a Sisters of Mercy concert or something. It just feels wrong to me, and it keeps the movie from feeling grounded. I think that the movie starts out really sophisticated and interesting, and then the second half is like more of like a Grand Guignol, Horschel, Gordon Lewis gross out movie. And I'm fine with both of those things, but I'm not entirely sold that they belong together. The movie has like moments that to use a Hollywood writer's room parlance, bump on. For instance, the woman is in the middle of a home invasion scenario, but she goes and develops photos.
Yeah.
But then there's also so much that I like about the movie. I think the acting is really good. I think the scares are very effective. I mean, I think it is a very frightening movie. I think, I love movies about photographers generally.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that's great about it too. So I feel like sort of on the fence about it.
The thing about the darkroom photography that was bumping me was not that she's taking a break from the home invasion to do that, because like I could extend disbelief and make that work, because that's the only way to like see her. The thing that's bumping me on it is she's shooting with a DSLR. She has a digital camera.
Drew. Okay, we have to stop and talk about this for a second. Because this came up in Civil War too.
Later in the movie, went back and rewound it, because I was like, okay, the Canon did make a digital camera, a film camera around that time that kind of looked like that body, but you can like see that it's a fucking like EOS like eye or whatever, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I had that exact same camera, so I've been bumping up against this a lot lately. It happened in Civil War as well. My mom is a professional photographer. I'm a very good amateur photographer. And so often in movies, I'm seeing things that aren't true or possible, which I can forgive sometimes, but not when it's like, you can't take that photo because you're in a dark room and your camera has no flash. So like that camera would just be a black frame. You can't take that photo because you're 500 yards away and you have a fixed lens. It's not a telephoto lens. It's just like, it's coming up so often, and it really takes me out of movies. Am I being too
I haven't
nitpicky?
seen Civil War yet, but all of the like promo scenes and stills and trailer stuff that I've seen are just all the photojournalists holding like small fixed lenses, and I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Like,
well, yeah, there is a lot of that in Civil War, but it's just like, it's rampant in movies just generally, where I'm like, especially in horror movies where it's like, I'm going to take a photo in this dark room, but my camera has no flash. And it's like, that photo's not going to turn out. And you know that if you've ever taken a photo on a camera. I don't know. It's just, I'm bumping so much against it.
This movie takes like good use of her being a photojournalist near the end, where like all the power is out and she uses the flash to like see around her. That's a good concept. I don't think it's executed well.
Yeah.
But that's a good conceptual use of that. And I like the very 1970s like Dario Argento, Cat o' Nine Tails, Brian De Palma, like the conversation kind of like process of like, let's go develop the film, let's go take a look at it, let's see what we can of the killer, like the kind of Antonioni thing of it all. I like that a lot. So I can forgive the desire to want to do that as a conceit in this situation. How fucking ever, you have the wrong goddamn camera. Like, it's not hard to go get a fucking 35 mil camera. You probably get one at a junk shop in France in 2006, 2007. And on top of that, like, you're not even making the most of the darkroom sequence. Like,
yeah.
And also, she saw more of her face when she lit her cigarette than she did in the photos.
Yeah.
And she has a full flash on. You would see a lot more in those photos.
You would see a lot more. Yeah. It's not real. I do quite like Alison Paradis as Sarah, the main character. Alison Paradis, by the way, Vanessa Paradis' little sister, aunt to Lily Rose Depp. I think she's really wonderful in this. And Beatrice Dalle is wonderful too. I think the pair of them are very good together in this movie.
I love Beatrice Dalle. I will watch her in anything. I think the first thing I saw her in was Jim Jarmusch's Night on Earth, where she plays the blind woman in the cab in the French segment.
I think me too.
I think she is fucking phenomenal and one of the most fascinating actresses of all time. However, I don't know if it's the direction or the styling or something. I think they're trying to, like, she's widely seen as a sex symbol. And I think they're going out of their way to try to make her look A, older, and B, as unattractive and scary as possible, which feels forced. It feels
She's so
like
hot. I mean,
it reminds me of like in like Coen Brothers movies or in like the Ocean's movies where like Brad Pitt has to be in disguise for something and they've got to try and make Brad Pitt look ugly. And you're like, we'll put glasses on him. And you're like, what are you doing? He's fucking Brad. You can't make him ugly. What are you talking about?
Right.
It's like, you can't make Beatrice Dalle ugly. You can't make her look scary. They like put her in low light so there's all these shadows of her face to make her look older. And like,
it's
someone
like
confuses her for the other girl's mom. And it's like, oh, you're ready to be a grandmother, huh? And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No one would ever make that mistake. It's like when none of the girls like Maxwell Caulfield in Grease 2.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Baby, look at him.
Yeah. And then suddenly he's hot because he covers his face. It's like, I don't think this is like so deranged. I love that movie, but it doesn't make any sense. He covers his beautiful face and now he's hot. Yeah, I guess we should do a synopsis. This movie is about a woman who is in a car accident while she's very, very pregnant. It kills her husband. And then, we cut to the end of her pregnancy when she's overdue. It's Christmas Eve. She's going to go to the hospital the next morning and basically be induced. She has become very depressed, as you might imagine, and very angry. And she's sort of alienated herself from everyone in her life. And the only person she seems to be friend with is her boss, Jean-Pierre, who's going to pick her up in the morning and take her to the hospital. And she's home alone on Christmas Eve when she gets a knock at the door from a strange woman she doesn't know, who knows all about her and wants to come in. And, spoiler alert, it's not much of a spoiler. It's in the slug line of this movie. That woman wants to steal the baby out of Sarah's womb. And that's kind of it. It's a home invasion movie. This, I would say, erroneously has often been described as a slasher, which it categorically is not.
It's not.
To me.
But it also, weirdly, I feel falls short of being a home invasion movie. There's not a lot of cat and mouse to this movie. There's not a lot of like, oh, is she outside? Is she inside? Where is she right now? She very quickly just gets inside and then just like, almost like the entire middle portion of the movie, Alison Paradis' Sarah is just stuck in a bathroom. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't really feel like a home invasion movie in the way that most home invasion movies do.
What I do like about this movie is how simple it is. It's got a very simple conceit. It's all contained in this one house. I think it is a really good example of like a chamber piece.
Yeah. You also have like the like kind of like set of characters that circulate around Sarah that you as an audience know are going to drop in and are going to affect this in some way. So she calls the police and the police come by, scout the house, don't see Beatrice Dalle anywhere. And so they say, okay, we'll have a car come by later in the evening to come check on you. And then also you know that Jean-Pierre, her boss, is going to come pick her up at 6 a.m. And then you also know that she has a relation, like a kind of like tense relationship with her mother, and her mother's more than likely going to drop by. And so you have these kind of things set up that work to like build tension and build off this being a like kind of bottle home invasion setup. And I think that's really good and really tense. And I think of those three exterior character like setups, only one works. to actually build
Jean-Pierre?
tension. No, the cops.
Oh yeah.
I think the cops one works because they actually draw it out and they play with it quite a bit,
And they come back and they do have some fun with the tension of that.
Yeah. I think Jean-Pierre and the mother are
The mother's a throwaway for sure.
Both feel like
Jean-Pierre,
throwaways, unfortunately.
well, Jean-Pierre is a bit of a bummer one though, because it's the central relationship in some ways of the movie. And I wasn't sure if I was meant to think that she was like sleeping with Jean-Pierre, her boss, or if he was just like a mentor and dear friend. I think it's the latter.
Yeah, it seems like they're not sleeping together.
But it does leave room because because of the power dynamic and the genders at play and stuff.
I feel like there's because like Jean-Pierre shows up early to pick her up, and then the mother shows up at the same time. And I understand the like desire to do that of he comes in, he mistakes Beatrice Dalle as Sarah's mother, and so then we have to have Sarah's mother come in to prove him wrong and to build tension there. But they're both dispatched within like a minute of each other.
Yeah.
And within like 20-30 minutes into the movie. So we then cut out a whole boatload of tension from later in the film. That granted, the cops do come in and fulfill, but quite a bit of this movie is just kind of gore for gore's sake because they've killed off their possibilities for tension a little too early.
And I'm okay with gore for gore's sake. However, it doesn't feel like that's the movie that is being promised in the first act, right? Like it kind of switches pretty dramatically to become like a gore fest.
Kind of insane in the final like 10 minutes to the point that I kind of yelled bullshit at the screen and was like, what are we doing here?
Grand Guignol is the right term, right? It is like super Herschel Gordon Lewis gore fest levels of gore, which is great if that's the movie that you're watching. But I just don't feel like that's the movie that's being promised. And I feel like I don't generally love home invasion movies for the same reason usually, and this is like true of The Strangers. I can't quite remember Funny Games because it's been such a long time, but
I don't like Funny Games, but for different reasons.
My whole thing with home invasion movies is I'm really in for the first half where it's like, how are they going to get in the house? Ooh, this is quiet and they don't see that person in the shadows and blah, 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 blah. Once it like lets it rip and goes, like for some reason to me, it just stops being scary because you've released all the tension. So I don't know. I felt that in this movie too a little bit, although it's still scary because it's so gross and violent. But
yeah, I like home invasion movies quite a lot because I find them to be one of the scariest genres, at least to me, and that's part of the reason why I enjoy them. However, the ones that I can think of that are the most effective to me either put off that like final ripcord of like they're coming into the house until the very end.
Yeah.
Like Straw Dogs does.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that is a home invasion. Yeah, you're right. That's a really great one.
Or something like You're Next, which is a home invasion movie, which
of course,
has
I guess I do love home invasion movies. I love that movie.
Characters involved that it's able to like move them around the chessboard of the film and still build tension. Because this is essentially a two-hander in one location, there's only so much you can do with that. And I feel like the filmmakers are less interested in building tension and more interested in what kind of shocking gore they can get across. The thing that felt like it jumped the shark for me at the ending, and this is like partial spoiler alerts for an over 10-year-old, almost 20-year-old movie, is that after the police come in and they get shot and stabbed and killed by Beatrice Dalle, and then a lot of other shit happens, and like Alison Paradis has to do her like a manual tracheotomy at one point and a lot of other shit, and then she sees one of the cops standing around and is like, "Oh, hey, officer, holy shit, oh my god, I need help." And he turns around and he's like covered in blood and his eyes are bloodshot and blood dripping from his mouth, and he just goes feral and attacks her and stabs her a
Right.
bunch. And
Doesn't
it's
make
just
any sense.
it feels like a fucking zombie movie out of
Yeah, it felt
nowhere. And
very
then Beatrice
strange.
Dalle comes in all insane and enraged, having with her new face, and goes fucking insane. And it turns into like a like bargain bin Fulci movie at that point out of fucking nowhere. And I was like, what are we doing? Like,
There's another scene where Sarah, you know, after some of the mayhem, goes up to just lay down in her bed, and then Beatrice Dalle, whose character's name, by the way, is La Femme. La Femme comes in and gets on top of her and they start kissing. And I was like, okay, men made this. And usually I'm not somebody who, like, I don't believe that you have to be a woman to write about women or anything like that. I usually push back pretty severely about things like that. But I was like, oy vey, like, what is this for?
Well, also, like, that's the poster.
I know.
Like, every poster for this movie is Allison Paradis covered in blood, and then Beatrice Dalle leaning over her to kiss her. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
What's happening?
Well, yeah. The like reveal of who Beatrice Dalle is also like is weak to me.
Yeah. I just don't think it's necessary. I think it's scarier. Like Black Christmas, if we just have no idea who this psychotic person is, this is a woman who wants a baby, period, and she's been following her, and
it would be more interesting if you're right, if she's just some fucking woman who wants a baby and chose this woman, or like had we gotten like a crumb of a scene at the beginning when she's at her doctor's appointment, if Beatrice Dalle is dressed as a nurse and just passes by, like,
yeah,
that would have been an interesting like twist to it. Or like just a little wrinkle. Or I was also thinking while watching the movie of being like, oh, is she her dead husband's mother? Because they keep calling her mother. I'm like, she's way too fucking young to be her mother, but okay, maybe. Like, is she like his mother getting revenge? Oh no, she was just the other person in the car accident who the cops thought was dead. That's fucking stupid.
There is like a really creepy nurse that comes and talks to her at the beginning of the movie. And the first time I saw this, I was like, oh my God, is this that creepy nurse from the hospital? You know, like, so you get the idea that she's been stalking her, but no.
So there's the CGI baby, which
boy, oh boy, I hate that CGI baby. It's so
unnecessary.
What's that Callista Flockhart show from the 90s with the dancing baby? Ally McBeal.
I was thinking
it's Ally McBeal dancing baby coded.
I was gonna say Twilight Renesmee coded. It is all around bad.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't like it.
We later get a fire related scene in which a character gets burned. That's one of the most egregiously bad fire CGI uses I've ever seen. It's beyond unrealistic. It is so cheap, so bad. It should also be noted this movie was made in 2007 and was filmed on digital cameras at the time. And so it's got a slightly different frame rate than standard 35 millimeter film. So the frame rate is a lot faster on this than say 35 millimeter film or even like contemporary digital cinematography. It's closer to like 25, 28 frames a second instead of 24. And that's some technical garbo for it looks odd to a modern audience to be watching this. And also because it's early digital cinematography, which I get is a like financial thing. And there's a lot of great films that were shot on worse early digital cinematography, like Spike Lee's Bamboozled and Inland Empire and stuff like that. It leaves the film looking really muddy. There's not a lot of depth to the image visually, and then also the colors aren't very expressive. They're not very deep, rich colors. They're very kind of muddy. It's a lot of browns, a lot of reds, and it's a lot of like late at night, one location. It doesn't handle skin tones very well.
Yeah.
It's a visually unattractive movie. And it also like blows out the whites a lot, and because she spends a lot of time in a bathroom, under like really harsh fluorescent lighting. It's just visually not a fun movie to watch on top of everything else that happens.
I do not like movies that are shot digitally from this era. Even the ones that I do think are really good, would I prefer them shot on film? Yes.
1,000,000%. Or even like modern
28 Days Later, Chuck and Buck, like, I mean, now most things are shot digitally and you don't really notice it. But then from that era, early digital films, I'm like, ugh, this is so ugly. Like, I can't watch 28 Days Later anymore because of that. It's really ugly. I don't like it.
Yeah. The problem is that the digital cameras at that time, like, could not take in as enough information as needed to, like, have a robust image photographed and to then also be able to color correct it digitally. We can do that now because we're shooting 8K, 16K, whatever resolution, and you can do fucking crazy shit when you have that much information. It just breaks down.
You have to degrade the image somewhat now because you want it to look like film, so you take it down like a bunch, and you add grain to it and stuff like that to make it look more like film because it's prettier. But yeah.
So this is the other end of the scale, and it doesn't work for me, and it's really hard to get around because even when, especially in like quiet moments in the movie, you're just kind of like left with it. It's very difficult. I did see that this movie's talked about a lot, especially in cult spaces and especially in horror spaces, as being like one of the main three of the like 2000s French horror extremism movement. And a lot of those directors have gone on to do bigger, better things. Some of them kind of have stayed in France. I looked up these two directors to see what they've done after, and they contributed to an ABCs of Death, and they did the Leatherface remake from 2017. But other than that, they haven't done much major horror films. It's also very impressive that this is their first film.
I think it is too. I think it's I don't especially love this movie, but I think it's well made. I think that they are good directors. I think that this is a well-crafted movie. I have quibbles with it, and it's ultimately like not a Josh movie, but I think it's good,
I cannot believe we found a pregnancy horror movie that's not a Josh movie.
I know.
I could name 15 pregnancy horror movies that would just make up your favorite movies of all time.
It's funny that we both feel sort of Midland about this because we're very much in the minority. It got a lot of critical praise when it came out. If you look on Letterboxd, it has really glowing reviews almost across the board. I did find a review that I agreed with. And it is by Kim Newman, who said,
I love Kim Newman.
She's great. It says
offering
praise to its. Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Had lukewarm response to the film, offering praise to its unsettling and quietly intense first half while criticizing its descent into, quote, gory farce for its finale, writing, designed to provoke extreme responses, Inside is conceptually among the most horrific movies ever made. In execution, it surprisingly lets the audience off the suspense hook to go for CGI-assisted ketchup sloshing in the almost cheerful Herschel Gordon Lewis manner, rather than the nerve-stretching, you can't watch this approach of, say, Gaspar Noé. Which is, I guess I was unintentionally quoting him for most of this episode, but like I felt the exact same way.
Yeah. I feel like that the grand guignol of the film and the home invasion art house tension of the film aren't balanced, and so it's hard to enjoy one when the other keeps breaking into it. So like I would have loved to be able to like revel in the insane gore and we're just fucking around here stuff of the final 20-30 minutes. And I also would have loved a really tense, taut home invasion thriller. And I feel like they really clash in the middle, and it's the like middle portion of this movie that I feel like really falls apart. But again, that's like I think first time screenwriter, like first time filmmaker, like the midpoints are. It feels like they had an ending and they had a really strong setup. Also, for a woman who is that far along pregnant, who like whose water breaks at the first like attack, she doesn't really seem to be going into labor or having contractions at any point in this movie.
That's true. I never thought about that. But I think you're right about the two movies that are at odds with one another. And I think if they had just picked one of those and committed to that from the start, it would be a much stronger movie. Like either give us the gory, fun, gross out movie from the first frame, or give us the sophisticated arty movie, one or the other.
I feel like, I mean, part of my like theory around them like having an ending in mind and like writing towards it from a start partially is because of that lack of actual labor in her pregnancy in the movie, because her water does break, but it feels more like that would happen at that point from all that stress and from that violence. That would absolutely happen then, but it feels more like it's used out of like, here's a gross thing to happen. Woo, gross thing happened. And then you never get her having contractions. You never like, she doesn't ever actually like ever really go into labor. And I think that's solely because they had already written the scissor scene in at the end of like, we want Beatrice Dalle to do this whole scissor bit at the end, and she can't do that if she actually gives birth. But actually having her like not be able to fight back because she's fucking giving birth, and then like having the process of just her giving birth be the horrifying thing, because the like stranger at the hospital at the beginning was talking about how like, first time I gave birth it was a murder, it was horrifying, and it was like, okay, are we going to take the like violence of this movie and the pain and the gore of this movie as like metaphor for the process of birth and labor? That's interesting. And like, based on Beatrice Dalle's like interest in why she's there, it would be interesting if she like put her scissors down and stopped and watched Sarah actually give birth and maybe assist in the birth a little bit, and that would have been an interesting connection moment between the two women, and not make them kiss for some fucking reason. Like all I'm saying is it would have been nice to have a woman rewrite this and be like, guys, you don't need the super fucked up moment, because you could have a more rewarding fucked up moment if you did this.
Also, like, really go for it. You're right. Like, show us the baby coming out of her. Like, show us a birth.
That would be more shocking to most audiences than your scissor scene.
I think it would. Sorry. I think it actually would. Yeah. Anyway, listen, let's pivot and play our favorite game. Have they seen it? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. I have somebody in mind that is not out of the clear blue sky. I'll explain it. This person made a documentary about how most women in the West give birth incorrectly, and how like natural birth has been kind of taken away from women. And that person is Ricki Lake. Do you think Ricki Lake has seen Inside?
Oh my God, I didn't know that Ricki Lake had that take. Fascinating. Okay. I can't imagine Ricki Lake ever choosing to watch a movie this gory and violent ever. I know she's like real tight with John Waters, and I'm certain John Waters has seen Inside, like, probably multiple times. I'm sure John Waters has told Ricki Lake about Inside. I strongly doubt that Ricki Lake has seen Inside.
I feel like John Waters has told her about it and has tried to get her to watch it because he's fucking with her.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
Wants to fuck with her, but she would hate this movie, and I don't think she's seen it.
You know what natural birth is, Ricki? God, I love him so much.
I know.
So one of the most famous, if not the most famous, horror film about pregnancy and birth is also, I think, Josh, your favorite movie of all time, Rosemary's Baby, starring Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow's actual human baby in real life is Ronan Farrow, who is legally not related to Frank Sinatra in any way, apparently, despite
not at
human
all.
Evidence by eyeballs. I love the theory that he's just trying to con Woody Allen out of his money, and like, okay, cool. Go off, King. Do you think Ronan Farrow has seen Inside? Actual Rosemary's Baby himself, Ronan Farrow?
I don't think so. He doesn't strike me as a horror person for some reason, but I could be wrong because gays love horror.
Yeah, we do.
My gut says no.
Yeah. I see that. I can see that. I feel like he has. I don't know why. I feel like
I'd buy that too.
Yeah. I feel like a very coked out Ronan Farrow in 2007 saw this in the East Village and had a blast.
That's how I saw it. Interesting. Well, listen, this movie stars Vanessa Paradis' baby sister. Do you think Vanessa Paradis saw this movie? I can imagine a world where she did not see this movie.
I can imagine a world in which she did not, but I think she did. I think she absolutely did. Vanessa Paradis also does insane, crazy fucking movies. Not too far from this. I think she has. I think she was very, very, very proud of her sister. I think she went to a premiere screening of it in France. I don't think Johnny Depp has seen it, but I definitely think Vanessa
Let's just
Paradis
go through the whole family. No Johnny Depp. What about Lily Rose Depp?
I think Lily Rose Depp has seen it.
Okay.
She seems interesting enough. If not, her friend Harley Quinn Smith has seen it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh my god, I had someone else. Okay, one of our like modern masters of horror who's one of his first movies is a female-led home invasion movie. Is Mike Flanagan. He makes incredibly great films that are able to get away with gore to like mass levels like this, while also really threading the needle of like having great fucking tension leading the way up. And he does them significantly, if not entirely, with his wife, whose name is Kate Siegel, who is such an incredible, incredible actress. And she is actually the lead in his home invasion movie from a few years ago called... Oh my god. What the fuck? Google! Hush. She's the lead in Mike Flanagan's home invasion movie, Hush.
Oh, I really liked that movie.
Do you think Kate Siegel has seen Inside?
Well, he certainly has. And I feel like probably she has through him, because I feel like he just watches movies every night and she sits down with them. So I feel like it's his influence. But yes, I think she's seen it.
That's fair. He has a Letterboxd now, and I want to go through and see if he has a Letterboxd review of Inside. I have seen that he has a Letterboxd list called Kate Siegel has not seen these movies, or Kate Siegel has lied about seeing these movies. Like outing his wife. That's so goddamn funny. I think they are madly adorable. I love them so very much. I have a friend who watches a lot of Mike Flanagan shows and stuff like that and was like, I don't get them as a couple. That's so crazy. That's so weird to me. Like, she's just with him for the roles or some crap like that. But like, I've seen so many interviews with the two of them separately where they're just like gushing about the partner when it's not even brought up. She'll just talk about him when they're talking about like anything. I think they are genuinely madly in love, and I think they're very, very cool and interesting and awesome. And they're both sober, and they're both so talented. I think they're great.
Yeah, huge fan. Thank you for listening to this episode of Bloodhaus. If you liked it, please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. Drusilla, shout out your socials if you want to.
You can find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. There's a whole bunch of new stuff over there, so go check it out. You can find me on Letterboxd. If you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline, you can find and follow me over there, and you can see what I thought of Sam Peckinpah's first westerns that I've been watching a lot lately. And you can also follow me on Instagram if you look for Hyde Sister in version. What about you, Josh? How can people find your baby?
How
can people come break in and steal Edie?
No, don't. I'm at Joshua Conkel on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd. We are arguably staying in the world of home invasion to talk about maybe the first home invasion movie next week. It's a big one in Art House. What is it?
Very much so. We are finally taking what has been a kind of partially forgotten about side segment of this show that we haven't done in a minute and bringing it to the full front as we travel to Scandinavia and bring Ingmar Bergman to the show to talk about one of the most important art house films of all time, one of the most important horror films and influential horror films of all time. We will be watching the Ren Fair costume ready, absolute tear-jerkingest, blood-guttingest Ingmar Bergman's The Virgin Spring.
Very exciting. See you next week. Bye.